Hi, thank you for having me. I am Chrissy Clary. I am a digital strategist and a marketing technologist. And like Kenny said, I did found the Digital Communications Group, which is a consulting, it's me consulting, really. And actually, I've just accepted a new role, which I'm excited to tell people, anybody that will listen. I start a new role on Monday as the head of digital experience for a software company. So I have been working in digital communications and communications otherwise for 20 years now, and have a lot of experience on the digital side, and have in recent years got into doing training in the social media space at the higher education with universities. So you're going to see some of the samples, some of the information I've collected from BSA, Boy Scouts of America. So if you're familiar with some of their guidelines, this will be repeated, but I also have some examples of types of social media posts that you can leverage. And please forgive me that they are all from the the higher education space, but I think you'll be able to use them as good examples in your work as well. So without further ado, I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation I put together that will guide me through this training. Okay, Kenny, can you see my PowerPoint? Is it full screen like it's supposed to?
Yep, it's full screen. Looks good.
Okay. All right. So we're going to talk about some ideas on how you guys can use social media and general communications for marketing your troops and for recruitment in the upcoming recruitment season. So here we go. First, we're going to talk about brand awareness. Just a general thought on brand awareness. If you're not familiar with what that is, you can see some of the most well-known brands in the world here. And usually what that means is that a company has, or an organization has used text and voice and graphics and colors, sometimes tones and music, to brand themselves, so that when you see that icon or you hear that tone and that chime, you're reminded of that brand. What we want to do is create brand awareness for the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts here locally, and we want to promote a brand that is fun and energetic and is supportive of children and all of the good things that Boy Scouts bring to the table. And to do that, we want to make sure that we're aligning with the brand, the Boy Scout brand, and following the guidelines, whether it's logos or color schemes or other things like that, but also working to use the images that your troop produces to promote the message of Boy Scouts. So ideas for establishing a presence. So Kenny and I got together, we also looked at what the Boy Scouts was recommending, and this is a really solid list that we've come to. Ideas for establishing presence. Your unit could have a free website. You could use Blogger, Google Sites, Wix. You can use WordPress. There's tons of tools out there that'll help you spin up or create a small website that you can post announcements, sponsorships, information for recruitment, whatever you might be talking about, events. This will help in a couple ways. One, when somebody is searching using Google, it'll optimize, meaning that could present your website as an option to somebody that is looking for a Boy Scout troop near you. If that site does not exist, it can never come up in the Google search. So at least if you have it, you have that opportunity. Facebook sites are a really excellent option of all of the social media platforms. The ones that are talking the most, that parents are using the most, is Facebook, parents and grandparents. So it's a great place to start getting out the word, building community. It's got a lot of free tools that you can use. And it's pretty easy, and no doubt you have somebody already in your life that is on Facebook and knows how to use it. Instagram and Pinterest accounts can also be a good idea as they're reaching the right demographic. I will caution you from personal experience, I would not try to take on 3 different social media platforms at the same time. Start with one, like a Facebook or an Instagram, and then grow from there. If you have the choice between Facebook and Instagram, Facebook does have the features that make it a better announcement board and a posting board, as in you can click on the actual post and go to whatever event or thing you're posting. Instagram doesn't have as many features like that. It's great for branding though, and so if you have the manpower and the team and you have some maybe Eagle Scouts hanging around that can help you with Instagram, it's a great channel to be on. It is definitely, if you're trying to reach the scouts or older scouts, college kids directly, it's a better channel than Facebook would be. So it all depends on who you're trying to reach, the parents or the kids. Have an email account. If your group does not have an email account, and you can get a Gmail account, it's that simple. It can be free, but make sure that you have one account that everybody can send messages to and that your group can send messages out to parents or the community. Build a list of people that are interested or supporters. Let them know what you're doing, where you're going, and how they can support you, and update them regularly through that channel. Okay, and then conducting service projects. So this was one of them, the ideas definitely that came from the BSA directly in their guidelines and recommendations. The beautiful thing about service projects is it gets you out in the community and you're branding the Boy Scouts and how good they're doing by the good work. So you're showing physically what you're doing. It also creates some really awesome photo opportunities. We did one not too long ago, with Troop 550, putting flags out at a cemetery. It was great, kind of heartwarming photography, made for some great social media posts, and we got some nice responses for that. So people like to see the Boy Scouts out doing good. Okay, so nursing your brand. Always post images and articles about the events and services that you're doing. So it doesn't have to be too complicated. A short little post, something linking to an event. And by event, a Facebook event is a nice tool. Like I think, Kenny, you used the Facebook event for tonight. That's a good way for people to either have a discussion or you can house resources. Facebook also will help you. The more of their tools that you use, the more it will promote your posts. The AI or the artificial intelligence that runs Facebook, the more of Facebook's tools you use, the more it likes you, the more it will show your stuff to the people you want it to see for free. Don't be afraid to post BSA authored videos on your feed. So what I have found, which is a really wonderful asset that you guys have at your hands, at your fingertips, is some BSA videos and materials. There's a whole website, I'm going to show you that in a minute, loaded with really great stuff. So you don't always have to create the content from scratch. That can be the hardest part about promoting anything, actually, in today's marketing world. So use the BSA Marketing Center for content. Try to post at least once a week, if not more. It's great if you can do more. What the important thing is that you get on a cadence. It's once a week, maybe it's every Monday, maybe it's every Monday and Wednesday, but you kind of set a schedule and you stick to that. Again, the algorithms and the artificial intelligence will reward you for doing so. Feed social media with positive messages. So that's really not about the machine. That's more about what BSA just wants you to say good things and promote the brand and associate the brand with really good things that the Boy Scouts are doing. Don't feed the trolls, delete negative posts. I think I have some tips on dealing with negativity on social media, so we'll get into that a little bit deeper later on. You can delete negative posts, but there's some, you want to think about what you're doing before it, because sometimes a straight up deletion can cause bigger problems. And then paid online ads. This is a recommendation from the Boy Scouts. Actually, all of these recommendations from this sheet are directly from the Boy Scouts, and this is an interesting one. I don't know enough about Boy Scouts and the structure and the budget to understand how you would pay for advertising, but if you're trying to get a message out and you're trying to do some recruitment, it's definitely the easiest, fastest way to reach a particular audience. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. So we're going to talk about building and posting content. Here's some beautiful pictures that the Boy Scouts suggest, and they are some really great action shots. And we'll talk about some different kinds of posts you can do, but really the best thing you can do is capture nice photos and nice videos. You don't have to do a lot of heavy editing. You want authentic, real, slice of life kind of images, the kind of things that you're sharing or your friends are sharing on Facebook already, you know. So don't overthink it, but, you know, have fun with the kind of images you're using. And here's a note about images. The use protection rules are in effect. If you want to use photos of children, Boy Scouts, you should have their parents sign the form. This, I think we were kind of dialoguing about this about a month ago. It may be a good idea that when a scout first comes into a troop and they're signing up the paperwork, if you think that you're going to want to, if you have a need for photography and you want to take pictures of all the kids, that's probably the best time to do it at the beginning of the year. And save those forms. They are going to produce the best content for your promotions and social media feed, no doubt. So don't randomly copy images from the web as they may be copyrighted. That is true, and considering you are representing a larger organization, Boy Scouts in America, we are subjected, there could be lawsuits. So those lawsuits start at about $2,000 per. So that means if you are borrowing or you find a photo out there in the web and you don't have clear rights to it, meaning you don't have express permission, somebody has said you can use that photo, you should probably stay away from it because you could be sued, or Boy Scouts could be sued. And again, the Boy Scouts offers a brand center, and here's the URL for this, scoutingwebdam.com, yada yada. Then you can go right to that website, and I'm going to try to share this. I don't know if do you see the brand center, or do you still see my PowerPoint?
Still see your PowerPoint.
Okay.
And Chrissy, while you're bringing that up, one note about the talent release form. If you have a medical form, the health A or B form, the very top right-hand corner of the form actually has the permissions and the verbiage for your unit to take pictures and use those pictures however you see fit. So if you've got a health form, you legally have it. However, it doesn't hurt to have this talent file on hand. This particularly applies to Cubs because you may take a while to actually get those health forms in for the Cubs.
If you're going to borrow somebody's image, there's Flickr as well. There's other websites where you can get free images. So you can search free images out there. And if you can find a website that is promoting themselves as free images without copyright, and you can see in the terms of use that that's what they're doing, then yes, you are definitely allowed to use. That's no different than actually purchasing the image, but you just want to be careful and make sure you're doing it. It's also in those situations, it's probably important to mention that a lot of those groups that are giving away their images are really doing so that they can get credit and promote their own business or whatever it is they're doing. Maybe it's an artist with photos. And so it is kind and the right thing to do to give the credit to the photographer. So if you know that, or you know the source or the website or the photographer, it's really very kind to put a link and say thanks to, thanks for. But of course, you're not required. Definitely if it's non-copyright images and you know that. So yeah, great question though. And ripping stuff off the internet, just buyer beware. That's all I'll say. Chances are you won't get caught, but whenever you have to be more careful. If you're if you're just somebody that's doing blogging from home and that you're not backed by a large organization with what looks like deep pockets, you don't have to worry as much. Or if you are representing an organization that could be sued, some big brand like the Boy Scouts, you want to be a little extra careful. Okay, so what I'm showing you here is the Brand Center. I'm just going to show you this real quick. And they've got, since the topic really is about recruitment, they've got some great recruitment assets photography that talk about, there's some really great photography, a lot of girl stuff, a lot of boy stuff, and videos that you can use. So there's all kinds of wonderful assets that you can rip off from the Boy Scouts. These are professional photographers they apparently have brought in and created some nice assets. So this is a great place to start. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, Facebook tips. So this research or this information is really coming more directly from the platforms, and this is where we shift. It's not so much Boy Scouts of America information, but it does really, I was really pleased when I reviewed what Boy Scouts was putting out for you guys. They've made some really solid suggestions, and so they're giving some really nice guidance, and the webdam is really a beautiful thing. I see a lot of organizations that haven't been able to pull off such a nice repository of content. So anyway, Facebook tips. Use video and Facebook Live if you have the opportunity to live stream part of a Court of Honors or a flag ceremony or somebody talking or half of a canoe trip, whatever you can. If you have the boys, if you're at Camporee and they're doing their skits, anything that is active and kind of sort of interesting, consider Facebook Living it or posting videos. You want to create discussions, not clickbait. That's probably more applicable in the higher education industry where they're really producing a lot of content. But what I mean by that is you want to create posts on Facebook where people can engage or Instagram, and they can talk to you on Facebook. The platforms, again, back to how the machines work, the algorithms, they don't want you clicking on something and leaving their platform. So the more that you can create a dialogue right on Facebook or Instagram, the more you will be rewarded by the machines. Prioritize photos and tags on site over external links. So that's kind of a secondary to the discussion about the click debate. You want to put photos and tagged photos above the idea over sending people off to external websites. Connect in Facebook groups. So Facebook groups, if you're not familiar, they're like a Facebook page, but they really bring together a unique group interested in a particular topic. So if we wanted to do a group of Boy Scout hiking enthusiasts, and you could have a group that is just talking about different hiking ideas and places to go hiking here in Central Florida, something like that. So if you have a special topic, we've been in Troop 550, there's a dialogue going on a lot about rifles and getting the rifle certificates or merit badge for the boys, and how do we do that, and how do we get the right people. So maybe that could be a big conversation group that we come together and try to solve that problem as an area, as a council. You want to use audience targeting. So I'm showing you a picture over here. So sometimes, and this is really, very applicable to big organizations that might be trying to target maybe a parent and then a student. But the same thing here, if you're trying to target a just friends and family of Troop 550, you could have a special group that you only target those folks. But then sometimes your posts could be public, and that means anybody in the whole wide world can see them. So you can make choices like that, and that can help also with, you know, if somebody doesn't really want their images out there. Plan and schedule when your audience is active. So you guys want to think about, like, who is my audience? Are they parents? Are they potential scouts? When are they on their phones? When would they be looking at my content? You want to make each post unique to Facebook. So what we're talking about here's an example from one of my clients where they kept posting the same thing over and over and again. The algorithms, so Facebook, any of the social media platforms, they will discount the second post. So they will see the post the first time, and they will show it to your friends and the people that and they might show it to your friends and your the people you want to see it. But if you post the exact same thing, reshare, retweet, whatever, they're not going to share it again with your same audience. So you're just wasting time if you're posting something duplicatively. Encourage brand advocates and employees to engage and share. So this is probably the most important tip when dealing with Facebook or any of these platforms, is you already have a strong network. If you're on Facebook, you already have people that you're connected with and linked to. You want to share the content that your troop puts out, and you want to encourage your friends and family to also share. It's a multiplying effect. The more you share, then if you can get them to share, and that's how we kind of get free advertising in this world. So in this instance, employees, you know, that could be scouts, parents, people who are actually employed by the Boy Scouts, to help that content go a little bit further. Some Instagram tips, same thing. They like it when you use their stories. They like it. Instagram rewards you for using video content. They love it when you go live, same as Facebook. Instagram does really reward high quality images, or what they think are high quality images. So definitely where on Facebook you can get away with being a little more text heavy and more writing, on Instagram it's really about the images. But you still need to write really good captions because you want people to understand what's going on, and again, you want them to talk to you and engage on your post. Hashtags, up to 30, necessary. There are hashtag tools out there that you can put, you know, and they're free, like, I don't know, just search free hashtag tool, and you'll find some things. And you can just say, oh, I want to, canoeing is a word you put in, and then it'll give you like 30 other words that are kind of like canoeing on the springs and canoeing in blue canoes, whatever it is. Get a bunch of different hashtags and always use those in your post. That makes the biggest difference for Instagram and getting your information out there. And then post as often as you want. They want, same thing with Facebook, the more you do it, the more they like it. But the really important thing is that with Facebook, they like it when you get on it, like I said, a cadence and a schedule. Instagram works a little bit differently, is that you can like post like 10 posts all at the same time, and Instagram might actually trickle it out to your audience. So they might spread it out to your followers instead of putting it all out like it just dumped that day. So you can post a bunch at one time, and as long as they're not time restricted. So now I'm going to just show you some of the, just some examples of social media posts. Again, please forgive that these are from the higher education industry, but I think they will come across just fine. So use Facebook, Instagram, any of these social media platforms. They really want you to use the tools that are provided. Facebook Live, events I've mentioned, polling, anything they offer, the more you use their tools, the more they like you. And it's also that you're entering data points. Every time you use one of their tools, you're giving the machine and the algorithm more information about what your post actually says. And so it's optimizing and improving the chances that Facebook or Instagram or the social media platform will show your content to the people you want to show it to. Because remember, just keep it in mind, it's not guaranteed. Just because you post something doesn't mean that it is presented to the people you want it to be presented to. But one of the tools that's really important is using the events like Kenny did today. Again, it keeps all the information in one place. You know who's coming. You can communicate about that, and people can come back after the fact if you needed to share something there. Again, and it's something Facebook likes. Instagram stories are a lot of fun as well and pretty easy to use. And anytime a social media platform brings out a new feature like stories on Instagram, it's really great to use that new feature because not everybody's using it, so you get you can get some extra action that way. So here's some ideas around like getting personal. You want posts that create emotional connections. So it could be this is a man proposing to a woman on a college campus where they went to school, but it could also be a son pinning his advancement pen on his mom. That could be a really touching image. You also could show off the kids, feature them and their parents, especially from the volunteer standpoint. If you're trying to promote and get new volunteers or more volunteers, then show off the great work that your current volunteers are doing. Give them some props online, and maybe you can get some more of those kind of guys. So you want to have fun. What we're looking at here is a point of view. So it's from the point of view of a college student in this instance, but you could have fun with your scouts. You can do some pictures with them where it's like their point of view of maybe something they're eating, or again, what their shelter they built looks like, or anything that they're having fun with. Maybe let them have a camera and play and create some content for you. Memes. Now, memes are, if you're going to steal content off the internet, I say go with the memes. That's probably the lowest risk content that you can steal. And one of the stats is posts with memes on Twitter get 36% more clicks than anything else. It's just kind of crazy, but people love a good fun meme. So have fun and joke and be light about it. There are some fun we can have with this. So the next one is my text all got kind of crazy on this slide, but I think it still makes sense. The point is be informative. So you definitely events that are coming up, FAQs, what is it like to be a Boy Scout? What is it like to be a Boy Scout parent? What is it like to be what does it look like when we go camping for the first time? This is how, there's all kinds of questions and answers. And again, going to the Boy Scout themselves as a resource for content is a great one for this one. There's all kinds of interesting stuff that they're putting out there to help you along. And then supportive, what we're showing here, this is looking for off-campus housing, but there could be other things going on that in your community, and the Boy Scouts are out, and we're doing, some kind of event, and we want to help you, or whatever it is. So try to support your community, try to support your scouts, and just talk about it openly. Timely and relevant information. If there was something that we posted, Kenny and I put up a Volusia Flagler scouting page, because we're trying to create a more of an area promotional vehicle. And there was one post that I found about these Boy Scouts in Tallahassee, or outside of Tallahassee, or somewhere in the Panhandle, and they were on an Eagle Scout project, and they found the remains of somebody. I haven't been able to figure out who that, I've been researching it for a while, but it's kind of crazy, but it's really fun. And it's an interesting topic. It was a historical site, so who knows? It's they're really old remains. They didn't know who they were, but it's something that you could talk about, and it creates conversation, just like coffee table book or having a conversation. Conversation starters are fun. If it's relevant and it's timely, that means it's relevant to you and it's relevant to the audience, whoever you're talking to, parents or scouts or volunteers, or people that you're trying to get to one of your events. And but it's also timely. Like, is it important in the world right now? If it's not important to anybody, then maybe save your time. Captions, if you've got a great writer, again, if you want to spotlight someone or some event, and you've got somebody that can spend a little time, a couple paragraphs, to write something that's really informative about what was happening, more power to you. Definitely go with that. And then features, again, feature things. It doesn't always have to have scouts in it. It could be their work. What are they working on? What did they accomplish? You know, what did they build this week? Like, I got to go off to Boy Scout camp this summer, and they were building these things, camp gadgets, I think they're called. That's a really great, like, a fun little feature on a Facebook page to really show off what the kids are doing. It's a fun thing. Now, when you're engaging, really, at the end of the day, these social media platforms, you can use them for promotion, but what they're really there for is to create community and to engage. So you don't want to just post content out there, post, and just leave them to do their thing. You really want to put the energy, or try to put the energy, into engaging with that community. So if somebody posts something on your page, or somebody puts a comment on a post that you put out, respond with it. You know, have a conversation with them. Share if you have. It doesn't always have to be officially on a particular page or Facebook page. If you have a parent or a volunteer that is putting something out there that is promotional, share their content. You know, it gives them a little attention for the work that they're doing. It's less content that you have to do, and it gives and it kind of connects your community a little bit. And then easy peasy like things. If somebody puts something on your page, give them a little love by liking them. Liking their, I mean, you can like them, but like their posts too. So a few things to think about as you are building Facebook pages, social media pages, otherwise. Create a rules of conduct post. So what I mean by that, if you're establishing first a page, and Penny, we have to do this on our page, you need either in the About section or one of the first posts that identifies, hey, if you're putting curse words and you're posting things, we're gonna delete your post. Like, set the rules up front. You know, we talked earlier, if you have trolls, and that's people that are making bad comments on about your content or your subject matter, that you might, you can just delete those, but make sure that they're really are trolls and they're not somebody that is bringing a complaint that needs to be aired forward. In that instance, and in any instance, what I advise organizations that I work with is that you work to move that bad conversation offline, as in you send that person that's posting the nasty stuff a direct message, give them their contact information, say, hey, let's talk and figure this out on the actual live post. If it is something valid and not just something like nasty that needs to be deleted, you just let them know, hey, we're looking into this. We've sent you a direct message, and let's work together to figure this out. It's important to do that publicly and say that, even though you're also reaching out directly to that person, because you want the rest of the community to know that you're responsive to somebody complains about something, especially in this day and age where we have to be, really conscious of what Boy Scouts is going through and the lawsuits and things like that, that we don't just look like we're ignoring things. So monitor and assess the situation if it gets worse. Oh, see, this is taken right from the University of Virginia communications team. Do not contact them, and I will delete that as we share these slides. You can block as you set up your pages. You can set them so that certain keywords like bad words, curse words can be automatically filtered out so those posts don't show. You want to be positive. You want to make sure, is it really a troll, or is it constructive criticism that we need to deal with and we need to be listening to? Block and report when necessary. If it is a troll, you need to block them and report them. If it is somebody just posting spammy, nasty garbage out there that is not healthy and you don't want it, and or nudity or curse words, you need to block them and report them to the social media platform so that they can come back. And they shouldn't be on the platform if they're doing kind of nasty stuff anyway, so you want to report them. When you do respond to negative comments or dealing with issues, you want to provide the facts using primary sources as that possible. So if there was a discussion, let's say, and that was related to a topic that you weren't comfortable with, or that was kind of like just not a nice topic, you can respond, but you want to make sure that, maybe if there's a public press release that Boy Scouts of America has put out on that certain topic, you give them a link to that resource. But try to stay away from arguing. Don't ignore questions and complaints. We've been over that. Move the discussion to a direct message or email, and be apologetic and respond in a personalized way. It's a human-to-human dialogue. Sometimes we forget because we're talking through a computer, and that's how trolls are born. We're humans talking to humans, and that's important to keep in mind. You want to build a supportive community, and by doing that, you're going to show your social sharing icons should be prominent on your website. So remember, we talked way back at the beginning of this about your potentially building a website out of a free tool. Don't forget to put a link to your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever social media platforms you choose to use. If you have business cards, social media handles, Kenny, I think you're working on a brochure for $5.50 now. I think that's already got the website URL in it. Make sure that's there. You might want to also put, if there's, I think you also stood up a Troop website, Facebook page as well, so we probably want to get that on there. Solve the problems of your followers. So think about, like, why do Boy Scouts exist, and why should people sign up? It does, in some ways, solve the problem. It creates a nurturing, healthy environment for these kids, and it gets them out of their bedrooms, gets them away from the computer screens. That's kind of the problem we're solving. Plus, we're teaching them how to be good, strong adults and people who are going to contribute to the community. So those are some real problems that you're solving for the community. Talk about that. Ask your followers what they want to talk about. So it doesn't have to just be publicly, but at your meetings and your parents' conversations and throughout. What are people interested in? What do they want to know? What do they need to know? When we're communicating, we tend to make a lot of assumptions about what people want to know or what we think they need to know. And communicators are really bad about asking the question, what do you want to hear? What do you need to hear? So that's a good tactic as you're preparing your content. And admit your faults and provide transparency. So if something goes wrong, just own it, and don't delete them and pretend like they're trolls. Like, own it and process through that as humans and friends. And remember, again, these platforms are an extension of our in real lives. So, and people don't really see a difference much these days. Okay, we're going to talk about ads real quick, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, I'm doing good on time. Okay. Serve ads to a micro-targeted geographic area. In layman's terms, what that means is pick an area. Like, if you are DeLand Troop 550 and you're trying to recruit for that area, when you set up your advertisement, you only want to target DeLand. You don't want to target Flagler Beach or Palm Coast or Port Orange. You only want to target the geographic region. And as you're going, there's some tips. There's a URL here on this page that the Boy Scouts have provided. But make sure you're targeting the right audience and the right age groups, because you don't want your ad shown to people who don't need to see your ad because you're wasting money. Ads can be cheap as $1 a day. So with the Flagler Volusia scouting page, and I do a lot of research in this area, so I was curious to see what we get for $1 a day. I'm used to seeing big social media budgets, big advertising budgets, so I kind of doubted what they were saying. But so I put some money down, and $30 a month, $1 a day, and it actually is working. It's working really well as we have a very targeted audience. We've just boosted one little post, and I need to change out the post and try something different. But we get a follower, 1 follower, 2 followers every day, every other day. So it's slow growth, but remember, it's all multiplies over time. So it becomes a big group as it marinates and collects more users. So really, it doesn't necessarily have to be an expensive endeavor. Just remember, it's the lower money, the less you spend, the slower your build goes. So sometimes that's okay. So building an audience slow and nurturing a healthy audience that engages with you, that really cares about what you're doing, is way more valuable than building a number and having 1,000 followers and people who just aren't interested, that just clicked because it randomly showed up that day. So anyway, they're right. So I have been convinced and learned something from Boy Scouts of America in this activity. A small investment can pay off big. And then Instagram advertising. This is, again, from BSA, so they're giving you a few stats here. Gen Z takes center stage by the largest user base, followed by millennials. And this stat bears out in all industries, 67% of 18 to 29-year-olds use the social media site. It's the largest platform for high schoolers. I can't say that for like middle schoolers, and so targeting children as a demographic can be tricky. We know that the group 18 to 29 is on Instagram, but it gets Google, Facebook, and all of these platforms don't give us much data on what happens to people younger than 18, and so we don't really have good information on that. Anyway, but if you have a kid, they're on Instagram, and that's probably all the proof you need. And even the older demographic is using it. Again, Instagram is great for branding, showing off pictures. You want to make sure that in your profile there's not much going on. There's not much profile space on an Instagram page. So you want to make sure that there's a link to probably your Troop website or your Troop Facebook page. But same thing, you should be able to target advertising geographically for the Instagram set and by interest. So like canoeing can be an interest, or camping is an interest. So for the Florida Flagler Volusia scouting page, that ad that I set up is targeting people who are interested in Boy Scouts, people who are interested in Scouts, people who are interested in Girl Scouts, people who are interested in canoeing, camping, and a whole bunch of other stuff that relates to what we're talking about here. So I think that is my last slide. Yep. All right. And you can find me on both as Chrissy Clary on both Instagram and Facebook. So if you guys have any questions, I was a scout myself, and I am raising a Boy Scout, and so I'm pretty involved with our local troop. So if you have any questions, I am happy to help and devote some time to helping you solve any of the problems you might find in this area. So thank you very much for your time. This was a lot of fun, and that's all I got.